Hey everybody, congratulations Jennifer on being first. Hey Collins Jackson's family. Hey JoJo. I thought you were off in New Jersey or something. Shouldn't you be asleep by now? Hey Danielle. Good to see you, Danielle. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey Marcy, good to see you. Hey Steph, good to see you. All right, everybody. I am done. Done installing a hot water tank, which in the ocean is hard to do. I mean, usually we just heat the water with a little lava flow. If it gets a little cold, we just swim over by Marcy's Island. There's lots of lava coming in there, and it's delightful. So what's going on? I don't know whether the vote has happened or not. We can check that out. There's going to be a vote for an infrastructure package. Now, it's just wacky because the Republicans could sabotage this, but they're not going to. If there's a vote for the small infrastructure package, this is the roads and bridges. If there's a vote, the progressives and the Democrats, which now number about 60, say, no, we're not going to vote for that until you let us vote on the big infrastructure, the Build Back Better. Okay? So, and that's $3.5 trillion over 10 years. So it's really $350 billion a year. How are we going to afford $3.5 billion a year? No, it's over 10 years. And taxes, etc., will pay for it. Corporations are going to pay more taxes. Some corporations are paying no taxes. Hedge fund managers are paying nothing because of something called carried over interest, which is ridiculous, but they make millions of dollars a year, but for decades they've gotten away with paying nothing because we have this carryover, which Trump said he was going to get rid of in 2015, and surprise, surprise, nothing Trump did, including infrastructure, ever came to fruition. Nothing he promised anyway, except the wall. And he built that wall, almost done with it, and yet still there are people coming into the country. Hi, JoJo's friend. Let's be a little serious for just a minute. Now that I'm done installing the hot water tank, it's not going to take long today. Let's see. This is a 45-minute press conference. We're not even get close to that. We'll just watch a few questions and we'll wrap it up. I just wanted to say hi to you guys. The big news is charity drive coming up this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. East Coast, for those of you who happen to be in New York, New Jersey, or not on a plane at that given time. Tell your friends, booksandbricks.org. If you want to go there now, here, I'll show you what to do. If you're not going to join us on Saturday, do this. Go to booksandbricks.org. You can't see that, but trust me, that's what I typed in. There's Books and Bricks Global, okay? Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down in here, kids. Let's get serious. Let's bring it down. Oh, you know what I can do is I can show you the whole goddamn screen. There it is. There's the whole goddamn screen. Okay, so how do we... donate today, right over here. Right over in the far corner. Donate online now. And then what I want you to do is... which funds are here? Let me look at... Here. This right here. The Reverend Donna Riley Williams Memorial Scholarship Fund. Go donate in there. That's my mom. Okay? I said mom like an American, so that would appeal to the Americans out there. That's how you do it. Booksandbricks.org. Booksandbricks.org. And you'll send a kid to school in Cuba, and everybody be happy with you, and you'll be a good person. Finally, isn't it about goddamn time that you did something good with your life? Let's go back to Caspan. Let's go back to the YouTubes. And we'll take a look at some stuff here. We'll jump ahead.
Welcome back to Sausage making on Capitol Hill. Policy making is messy. They're longer than that.
Does anybody know? I haven't really been paying attention to the chat there. Does anybody know if the vote is happening? Has it happened? The whole thing is, this could spell doom for the Biden agenda. No. He's got 3.5 more years to pass his agenda. He's got another year and a bit before the midterms. There's still plenty of time to pass the agenda. You just happen to have Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, neither of which is really sure exactly what they want, but they kind of want some stuff, and they just don't want to pay for it. Lori wants to see what I look like. Lori does not want to see me eating my bran. I'm having my bran. See? I told you. The shark was way better. Oh my God. This is what I look like after spending the entire day in the basement. I was literally installing a hot water tank and running for president, as one does in the basement. So there we go. Let's go back and see when the questions start. We'll just watch a few of the questions here. And again, does anybody know if the vote is taking place? We can pull that up. We'll just check in on the vote. C-SPAN is not broadcasting, so they may have been sent home. I don't know. Lori doesn't say I'm right. Lori probably says Y-O-U apostrophe R-E right. Because Lori looks smart. She knows how that works. Did Kevin Lee Daughter get her power fixed? Yes. In fact, there's a story behind that too. So Kevin Lee Daughter lost her power yesterday, so she came over here. She spent the night here. Slept on the couch so it wouldn't mess up any of the beds because the house is for sale. And blah, blah. Anyway, I went and I played Netsing with a foursome. There were four of us. That's how that works. I played some doubles this morning, and then one of the folks playing had to leave. So I said, no problem. I'll just call up Kevin Lee Daughter. She's 5 minutes away. She wanted to play with me this morning anyway. She can sub. We can play another set. Yay! So then but I called her. Where are you? I'm out for a walk. Well, walk back. Okay, it's going to take me 5 minutes to get home. Okay, go 5 minutes and then get in the car. And she starts heading over to play Netsing with us. And right as she starts driving, the handyman calls and says, hey, I'm on the way to your apartment to fix the power. So, no tennis for her today. What were we checking out? Oh, yeah, let's go to the news stations and see if anybody is covering what's going on in Congress right now, if there's anything going on in Congress. Live look in here. This is a repeat of the Rachel Maddow show. Breaking news from Fox News. Let's see what this is about. Go ahead.
Breaking tonight, a late night on Capitol Hill as the future of President Biden's legislative agenda hangs in the balance. The Democratic divide over...
I didn't say send a kid to school in Cuba, did I? It's Kenya. Did I say Cuba? Wow. The vote was delayed? Okay, thank you very much, Stephanie.
Spending only deepening while the White House is left to try and cover for it.
Cover for it? They haven't voted on this yet. This will get worked out.
Has the president at all lost control of his party?
This is how democracy works.
Yes, it is. There's compromise. John Boehner lost votes all the time. His predecessor lost votes. Not one of his predecessors. There was a predecessor to John Boehner that didn't lose votes. I'll tell you who that was in a minute. And then Paul Ryan came in, and he was the Republican speaker, and he lost votes. And by what I'm saying is lost votes didn't lose individual votes, but they would vote on a bill and it wouldn't pass. Neither of them was all that good at whipping and counting votes when it came to passing legislation. The predecessor I'm referring to, who never lost a vote, was a young lady named Nancy Pelosi. She's in charge again now. She does not lose votes. If she doesn't have the right amount of votes in order to pass a bill, she doesn't call it to vote. She knows exactly what's going on. So it'll be that's the brand. It'll be interesting to see if the progressives are going to hold firm and say, no. We want the Build Back Better plan. We want the big cookie, and we will vote yes to the cookie, and we will vote yes to the smaller plan, but they've got to happen together. Because if we vote through the smaller plan, the infrastructure bill, which is just roads and bridges, etc., everybody wants that. 17 Republican senators already voted for that. Okay, good. Infrastructure, it's fantastic. We've had zero infrastructure for the last 4 years under Trump. So, fantastic. Yes, infrastructure, everybody wants this. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party will vote for it, but they're not going to vote for it unless it's also tied to the big stuff. The stuff like, hey, let's cover hearing aids for seniors. Hey, let's cover childcare. Hey, let's give people community college for free. Hey, all of the ideas that we said, wouldn't this make America a better place? And then Joe Biden espoused during the campaign, and people voted for him overwhelmingly, 306 to 227, which Trump called a landslide. Except when Joe Biden won by the same number, and just irony. Just so much irony. Anyway, the Progressive Party is saying no, and this is what's happening right now. That's why the vote was just canceled. Progressives are like, we are not going to vote for this unless they're tied together. You bring one, and we will vote for it. You bring two together, we'll vote for it. But the one by itself, not enough. And they're sticking to their guns. Now, if the Republicans were smart, they would vote for the little package, send it through, and then Joe Biden would have to turn down the infrastructure bill. And that would take the wind out of the sails of the progressives, because once the little bill is passed, the incentive to pass the big bill just isn't there, because Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, they're needed to pass the big bill.
I know it feels foreign because there wasn't much that happened over the last couple of years.
Our panel standing by to break it all down as negotiations dragged on through the night. New York public school employees have...
That's just going to be sound and fury. Let me know when there's an actual bill.
Round of administration-wide commitments and proposals to support policies related will continue to advance
for the reconciliation.
Updated plans annually. Jonathan, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Jen. A few all on the dealings at Capitol Hill right now. Senator Manchin told reporters a short time ago that he told President Biden that $1.5 trillion would be as high as he was willing to go for the reconciliation package. What was the president's reaction to that? Is that an acceptable number?
Well, first I would say, as we've said many times, we're not going to outline private negotiations or private discussions, and we'll let the senators speak for that, as Senator Manchin did earlier today. The way the president sees it is that this is an ongoing discussion, an ongoing negotiation. Here's what we know. We know that timelines help make progress. We've seen that play out over the course of the last couple of days. We know that compromise is inevitable. We've also seen that play out over the last couple of days. And right now, we're clearly in the thick of it. I'd also note that during his...
I don't know why the cat is on fire. I like the animation. I like what's happening here. I like that you guys don't have to watch me eat. I'm unclear on the fire aspect of it.
During Senator Manchin's, and obviously I'm not his spokesperson, he can certainly speak for himself. But during his Q&A he did on the Hill today.
It looks like the interpreter doing the sign language. It kind of looks like she's poking fun at Jen Psaki. Just her facial expressions. This is my favorite thing to watch.
Today, he also referenced the fact that that there was a document from a couple of months ago, and I'll let him and Leader Schumer speak to that. And he was repeatedly pushed and asked, would you go higher than 1.5? Would you go higher than 1.5? I will leave it to all of you to determine if he answered that question. But this is an ongoing discussion, an ongoing negotiation. And as I said yesterday, that's going to require all sides.
No, it's the verbal kitty litter. I'm gasolined it, and I've set it on fire now. And boy, with the price of gas.
Giving a little, and we're in the midst of that right now.
So on that, key Democratic House leaders have said they will, quote, stay here all weekend to work to get a deal. Does the president plan to do the same? Will he be at the White House?
Oh, Kimchi's here, everybody. And she found us by accident. Okay.
White House working this weekend, having visitors, calling and hosting congressional lawmakers?
Well, as Speaker Pelosi said earlier, and we're following the same motto, we're taking it hour by hour here and making a decision and determination about what's most needed. So as it relates to what's even going to happen this afternoon, we're open. He's available. He's been making calls this morning. He's open to having visitors. He's open to going places. But we're going to make those decisions hour by hour. So the weekend's a little bit away, but I will tell you that this is the president's top priority right now, getting relief to the American people, making sure we're lowering costs for the American people. We're addressing the climate crisis. We're rebuilding our roads, rails, and bridges. We've made progress, and we're still at work at it.
Last one from me. One of the president's central promises when he was elected was to restore Americans' ability to be confident in their government again, to believe in institutions again. What is the White House's message to the Americans right now?
I don't know that you can call that a promise. I don't remember Joe Biden promising he was going to restore American civility. I really don't think that wasn't even part of the platform. He just said America needs to restore its civility. He didn't say, I will restore the civility of America. I am very angry. So angry that it was the burritos I had for breakfast. You can see them.
We look at this
They're
and
all
see a
coming
mess.
back up
Nearly
on
a
me
government
now.
shutdown. The debt ceiling is unclear. Legislation not being passed, at least not yet, even though Democrats control the bodies of government. And those Americans don't feel that they can be confident in the government. What's the White House's response?
Well,
Just relax, people. Can everyone just relax for 5 minutes? And by 5 minutes, I mean like 2 weeks. Remember last week's press conferences? Every single one of them was, what about the people under the bridge? What about the Haitians? They're going to destroy the country. All of them are under the bridge. They're going to destroy the country, and yet they're hungry right now. Why aren't we feeding the Haitian? And now there's nobody under the bridge. Problem solved, people. Why is the Biden administration not doing anything to help the people under the bridge that aren't there anymore? They're gone? All right.
first I would say,
how come a vote hasn't happened in Congress? We don't have a country anymore. Save America!
the president, the Speaker of the House, and the leader have more experience getting legislation across the finish line than any group of Democratic leaders in history. We're in the middle of it right now. It's messy, this sausage making on Capitol Hill. Policy making is messy. There's negotiations.
I got a sausage you could make, sweetie.
They all have representatives who are advocating for their points of view. That's democracy in action.
Do not encourage me. Do not. Somebody rub my nose in that.
Can tell them is that we're on the path to keep the government open. You just saw that pass the Senate. It was going over to the House. That's not just keeping the government open. That's getting relief to make sure we can take care of refugees, people who fought by our side in Afghanistan. That's to make sure we get relief to the Gulf Coast, additional relief to the Gulf Coast. All important priorities. And we would also tell them.
On the one hand, you have Hannity screaming that the Afghans who helped us, they're being held hostage by the enemy. They're behind enemy lines. Day number 47 of American hostages being held behind enemy lines. Dun, 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 dun. On the other hand, you've got Hannity yelling, why? Why are we funding money towards the people who helped us in Afghanistan? Why?
That the president is going to stop it. He's going to use every lever at his disposal to fight to get this legislation passed. These two pieces of legislation that will have make historic investments, and he's doing it because he wants to have an impact on their lives. But these type of packages, not a lot of precedent for them. But he's going.
Why are we all not talking about those of us with kids who are in the age group of children? Why is everybody with kids not talking about the extra $200, $500 a month they're getting from Joe Biden right now? Absolute silence. Nobody mentions it. Has anybody out there talked to somebody with kids who said, boy, you know what? I'm really grateful for that extra $250. It's helping me pay for health care. It's helping me pay for school costs. It's helping me pay for that laptop I got for my kids so that we can do virtual learning. Joe Biden helped out 90% of the children in America. He virtually ended childhood poverty. And nothing. This is the worst presidential we've ever... He's just Satan. Jennifer says, I get it, and I'm damn glad to have it. Thank you, Jennifer.
Going to work at it. He's going to get it done.
I want it. I offered, when this was coming through, when this was coming down the pipe, people, I offered, hey, if anybody wants to have a kid with me, you let me know. Let's 5, 6, 7, 8 people. A couple of them have twins. We could have 10 kids within no time. I don't know how long it takes to make a baby. For me, my part, 2 minutes. Speaking of coming down the pipe.
That's what he would tell them. Go ahead.
Does the president see any strategic value in a vote failing on the House floor?
Well, as Speaker Pelosi said earlier today, we're on a path to win. I don't want to even consider any other options than that. We're in it to win it. The president's also in it to win it. That's what we're working toward. It's only 2:40 right now. Lots of time left in the day, and he's going to
2:40 on Blaze.
continue to engage, stay closely engaged with her about the path forward.
You've repeatedly referred this week to this moment as an inflection point. How is the president viewing this moment, given where his caucuses are, where it's not?
Sweetheart, how do you do your hair? Every blade of grass has been mown to perfection. Look at that man.
This moment, as in this moment, 2:40 p.m. this afternoon, or just today?
As in, it's deadline day for an infrastructure bill. He doesn't have the votes. One member of the United States Senate is about $2 trillion below his top line number, and there's no clear way to bridge those gaps.
Well,
Well, I mean, if there was a clear way to bridge the gaps, we wouldn't be doing this, would we now? He's handsome, but...
I think the president views this as the last several days, and
Good night, Jojo. Go to sleep.
even longer than that. His views, we've made some progress. You've seen some members come down. You've seen some members come up. You've seen active negotiations. He's obviously been hard at work at them himself. And what we clearly see is an agreement about the need to get this done, whether it's the infrastructure bill or the reconciliation package, which has key priorities for the president. Key priorities, I think the speaker referred to it earlier today as the cause of her, as her public life, as her time in public life. That's a bit of a paraphrase. I'll leave you to her words. So look, he sees this moment. He knew that as we got closer to self-imposed timelines, which are important, often these timelines can help make progress. We've seen progress made. That more members would be.
You set deadlines, you don't meet the deadlines, you make new deadlines. There's no dead in the lines.
Out there advocating for what was important to them. That's happening. We would hopefully see more willingness to compromise. That's happening too. We're hard at work, and he's been through.
I'm hard at work. What's up, ladies? Take a look at this pussy. Don't encourage me. All of this is terrible. What's wrong with me? You know what it is? Parts of me are on fire tonight, ladies. Can you see it?
Through this before, so he's not too thrown off his game.
And yeah, I'm not picky. Ladies, gentlemen, Collins Jackson family, if you're out there still. Guy with the hair sitting in the press conference.
I'm on it.
And then just one quick last one. Do you guys see a possibility of some type of framework
I see all kinds of possibilities with you, sweetheart.
agreement that could unlock the infrastructure vote
I'll unlock your infrastructure vote.
today?
That's what we're working towards. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jim. You talk about self-imposed timelines as opposed to the other real timelines for debt ceiling and the CR. The progressives don't seem to feel any sense of urgency about passing infrastructure, and the moderates, like Manchin, don't seem to feel any urgency about passing reconciliation. The only Democrat that I can think of who really has a sense of urgency is Terry McAuliffe. Do you feel it? Does the president want this done
Well, he's not relevant to... Okay.
in a certain amount of time, or does he also feel that this could play out over weeks and months and still come to the...
Wait! Is that the guy from The Daily Show sitting back here? That's what's his face. Rob, Ray, Rob Rosen, Ruby Rob. Ribbon Robin, Ruben Abadan. That's Robin Abadan.
the conclusion that he wants?
Well, as I said a little bit earlier, we know, and the president knows from his time in public office, that timelines can help make progress. That's often how
Roy
legislating
Wood.
happens on the Hill. And as the speaker, we would disagree with that. You've seen a lot of members out there advocating for their viewpoints, being very
Roy Wood Jr. That's who it is.
vocal about what they want to see, some coming up, some coming down. That's a sense of progress. And
The itsy bitsy spider went
we're
up.
working on it hour by hour here.
Does he have he feel that he needs it done by a certain time, like the end
That's Roy Wood Jr.
of the year?
I'm not going to set new deadlines here for you. Obviously, we're trying to get it done now.
She's like, Jen Psaki. I'm not going to set new deadlines. Why do you think we're here, people? Who do you think you are? I talk, you write it down. Moving on.
We're working on it as of right now, today, and that's what our focus is on in this moment.
This is 45 minutes of, yeah, okay, well, it'll happen when it happens, people. Are there any questions about anything else?
Go ahead. I'll go back to you. We should go ahead.
Oh, sorry. To follow up a little on what Phil was asking.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Let's ask more questions about timelines.
What does the president want, and what does he?
Oh, shut up. Here we
Payments to
go.
our troops blocked. Those are real impacts. Republicans in Congress are treating this like a game. Let me give you some examples. Senator
Okay.
Rick Scott, and this is a real quote, I will note. This is going to be a ball. I'm going to have so much fun. That's about the debt limit.
Yeah.
Senator Kevin Cramer, it's sort of fun to watch. And Senator Cornyn said yesterday that Republicans would use every tool at their disposal to slow Democrats from doing this on their own. What we're trying to do right now is do it on their own. Do it on our own. That is what Leader Schumer is working to move forward on. And obviously, as you know, Republicans have blocked that effort. Of course, we're going to continue to press. We're not going to let up on that, on Republicans to do what's responsible, to protect the full faith and credit of the United States, as has been done 80 times in the past. We've also been working to...
Yeah, we've never had a problem raising the debt limit. And by the debt, I mean, there's been discussion of it. But it's always, should we pay our bills? Yes. Yes, as a country, we should really pay our bills. That would be the right thing to do. Let's all vote for that. Moving on.
Do it on their own. We're going to keep working with Leader Schumer to get that done.
But you're not
Every time.
ask for Democrats to push on reconciliation.
I'm not going to get into additional mechanisms here. We're going to continue. I don't think we're not going to, nor should anyone let Republicans off the hook here. So we're going to continue to press them on it.
One of the things that Senator Manchin said today was that the kind of the concern that he has around the 3.5 number is about how it would impact inflation in the economy. And I'm curious what the White House thinks of that concern and what you've done to allay that concern.
Well, we've conveyed privately what we've said publicly and what many, many economists have also conveyed publicly, which is that what these packages will do is they will address inflation and costs over the long term. That's one of the core reasons that people should be supporting them. So if you are concerned about inflation, that's exactly a reason you should support these packages.
Yeah.
Would the president sign a reconciliation bill that does not include...
Is there anything else going on in the world?
At a staff level, a senior staff level, to get through these intricate details, and that's where the focus is in this
Oh my
moment.
God. How about now?
We'll do that publicly. A lot more of it happens behind the scenes. That's what I mean by progress. You've seen members come down in numbers. You've seen members come up in numbers.
Still, 35 minutes into this thing, they're still talking about it. Has it happened yet? No. Has it happened yet? No. Now? No. How
That's
about now?
what
No.
we're working on to get Hill talking about this. We're not going to let Republicans off the hook.
Okay.
Find
Now?
you quotes. We've ever been quotes in our paper and quotes in lots of folks have, depending on the issue, whether they are immigration advocates or folks in the Afghanistan who sort of watch.
Pretty sure this is Creed from The Office sitting back here. It's a cavalcade of stars going on at the White House press correspondence room right now. You got Creed from The Office. Over here, this is the star of American Horror Stories. If you've ever watched AHS, this is her. Wait till she looks up. You'll see.
Afghanistan, there have been numerous on-the-record descriptions of the president embracing, and it's actually in some ways just a factual thing,
But,
right?
but like on what
the-
policy? On what policy? Sorry, I don't think you can name people, but or what specific policies?
Well, I mean, for example, Afghanistan
There, see? That is the star of American Horror Stories. Thank you.
would have been the maintaining of the former president's decision to withdraw troops. On immigration, it's in maintaining Title 42 and keeping Title 42 in place. I mean,
So the question is, hey, now she's looking at this guy. She's like, what's your motivation here? He's asking questions, something along the lines of, like, he's pretty much doing just what Trump has done. So he's maintaining Title 42. He's actually strengthened Title 42, which is a CDC agenda. It's not a presidential action. It is, but the CDC is under. Anyway, it's basically because of COVID. And COVID hasn't stopped, so Title 42 has been in place, mostly because Trump did such a terrible job responding to COVID in the first place and downplaying it. Sarah Paulson's, thank you. Does that make them dinos? Yes. Is it dinos, like on the Flintstones? Or dinosaurs? Or what else? The Chinese tariffs. The Chinese tariffs are still in place. Here's the great part. All of the deals that Trump made with China, China's going to buy so much soybean and so much grain and so much soy grain. It's going to be so great, if you will. All of those, China's just not doing it. Nope. They made the deals in order to get Trump to do what they wanted. They were transparent. And they're not upholding their parts of the bargain in China.
The submarine.
Yeah.
Which one?
The submarine.
Yeah,
The president was compared to Trump.
to Trump. Well, that's the French foreign minister compared him to Trump in terms of how he handled the AUKUS negotiations.
So, look, I take each one of these.
That's the Australian submarine deal.
On Afghanistan, the former...
By the way, everything's all patched up with that now, and the ambassador's back. Everybody's happy with France. For those of you who are panicking, for those of you who started to label your freezer bags as freedom fries, it's okay.
The president struck a deal without the Afghan government that we heard the military convey yesterday led to the demoralization of the Afghan security forces. And
that's a wonderful point. The Afghan army who threw down their arms and ran away when the Taliban attacked, that army had tremendous spirit just a year and a half ago, and now they're demoralized and gave up because Trump made a deal with the Taliban. The enemy. The people they were fighting. The people who were killing them. Trump made a deal with them to evacuate, and he let 5,000 of them out of jail. How would you feel?
And the Afghan government, where he also released 5,000 Taliban fighters into...
Thank you. That's what I said.
Afghanistan. I would say the president took a pretty different approach than that in ending a war that the former president didn't end, something the American people strongly support. As it relates to AUKUS, I'm not even sure what that's referring to in terms of what they're comparing. The president worked with key partners, Australia and the...
Trump did not give Australia any submarines.
United Kingdom to come to an agreement that would help provide security in an important part of the world, in the Indo-Pacific. A priority that, frankly, getting out of the war in Afghanistan leaves space for us to spend more time addressing. What was the last one? Immigration?
Immigration, Title 42, tariffs on China. I mean, there's...
Title 42 is a public health requirement, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, which, by the way...
Requirement. That's a better word than agenda. Thank you.
We would have made progress on had the former president actually addressed the pandemic and not suggested people inject bleach. So yes. I think we're in a bit of a different place. I'm happy to discuss more examples. I think people be pretty hard pressed to argue that the president has taken any aspect of the former president's playbook and used it as a model of his own. Go ahead.
Senator Manchin.
Ha! Look at the interpreter. Just watch the interpreter here. This is great. Just watch. So it'd be pretty hard pressed to say that the president's taken any of the former president's agenda and taken it on. Watch the interpreter.
President's playbook and used it as a model of his own. Go ahead.
Senator Manchin has also said that he wants to means test as much as possible of this reconciliation package. Without getting into, or speaking for the senator, as you've said, what is the White House's position on, I guess, means testing in this package?
Well, you can call it whatever you want. Sometimes...
Okay, they're talking more about the package.
Consistently pessimistic about action in Washington. So,
yeah.
But ahead of what we're going to be seeing, whichever way this vote goes tonight, what is your message to the public as they look at the ongoing situation in Washington about what is your message to the American people as they look at, as you've said, a messy situation, the chaos of democracy?
We hope.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's not chaos. It's people talking about, hey, could you please vote for this? I don't want to. What are you going to do for me? Well, we'll do this. Well, I don't want to pay more than 1.5 trillion. Well, you don't have to. How about 1.6 trillion? Well, I don't know about that. How about 1.4? It's just bartering going on right now. It's not chaos. Jennifer Paulson says French fries are actually from Belgium, which, by the way, is a made-up country like Narnia. But anyway, apparently there's from Narnia, and in southern parts of Belgium, instead of speaking Narnian or Flemish, they spoke French. So the American soldiers during World War I called the fried potatoes Frank fries, which then became French fries when they were imported here back to the United States.
We can prove them wrong. Go ahead, Karen.
Thanks, Dan. I know
And most people don't know this. Hamburgers didn't come from Hamburger. They also come from Narnia. They are actually made from Aslan, which is why they're so delicious.
by hour is kind of the phrase of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
Given that, can we expect to hear from the president today? Or what would have to happen for us to hear?
The answer is no. Let's go. Let's move on. Here we go.
Discussion to figure out where you can work together.
I know why Biden isn't talking to the public right now, because every fucking question would be like, what's happening with the infrastructure, with the bill back? How come it hasn't been passed? Why are people doing legislation?
That's also how he views and approaches diplomacy. We can call out and publicly and argue strongly privately issues we have with foreign governments. But we also sometimes still look for ways, most of the time, for ways to work together. That's been his approach. I would say that given the infrastructure bill passed with 69
I thought this was something else besides the infrastructure bill, but here we go.
votes, that's evidence of it working. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen.
Come on, you're almost at the end of this, buddy. You're 40 minutes into a 45-minute press conference. Please do not ask about the infrastructure bill. It's not done.
You mentioned at the top that the...
Oh, good. He's got an accent. I can't place it. Just a little bit of a. I'm gonna say Southern Tennessee.
On September 17th, the president.
Oh, it's Roy Wood. He's doing a bit.
Signed an executive order authorizing sanctions to be used against those undermining peace in Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. But right now, it doesn't seem the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, is interested in peace. He refused to meet with Samantha Power when she was there. He's expelling UN staff from the country. He's taking all the steps that prove that he's not interested in peace. Why not take the sanction now? Why not impose the sanction now? Or take more drastic action against not just him, but also the president of Eritrea, who still have troops inside Ethiopia?
Well, absent clear and concrete changes, we will. We're preparing to take aggressive action under this executive order.
Fan-damn-tastic question. I don't know from where the reporter is. It could be Roy Wood Jr. I'm still convinced. I mean, I haven't seen him without the mask. Anyway, the Tigray War has been going on in Ethiopia. It's a civil war. It's been going on for, I don't know, several months. Seems like a year now. Anyway, there's peace negotiations going on. The Eritreans are involved. The whole area, that area of the world has been at war with itself or the other countries, Sudan, etc., for ever since we were doing Live Aid, and then before that as well. So you've got mass migrations of referees from one area to the other, then back to the other area. It's been plagued by doubt and drought. Plagued by doubt. I am so done today. It has been a day, people. Anyway, the Prime Minister, what's his name? Abiy Ahmed, I think. Again, I'm not great with names. He had the opportunity to meet with a peace accord, a delegation, and he decided not to. So the question is, why not impose sanctions now instead of waiting for things to get worse? People are dying. He didn't say that in the question, but there's a war going on. But since it's a war in Africa, the United States doesn't give a fuck. Speaking of Africa, if you'd like to help out kids in Africa or Cuba, join us on Saturday night. we will be doing a live broadcast. It will be on this channel. It will be on the Books and Bricks channel. And help send a couple of dollars can help send an African kid in Kenya, not Ethiopia or Eritrea or Sudan or anybody. Anyway, just Kenya or Cuba. We're branching out. In one of those two countries to school. Last year, many of you joined us and did a terrific job. Your generosity still overwhelms me. Any trip involved? I don't know. I haven't seen any of the prizes, the auction items yet. I'll let you guys know when I know. So anyway, that's just 2 nights from tonight. And I still have to edit a ton of video for it and pictures and stuff like that. And tomorrow, the house is being inspected over and over and over again, so I have to be out of it for most of the day. I'm like, I got a charity thing to do, people. Well, why didn't you get it done earlier? I was at a funeral in Canada. Thank you. Well, you came back from the funeral. I was installing a hot water tank so you could do the inspection. A lot of anger in me today. It's making my hair stand on end.
To impose targeted sanctions against a range of individuals and
by the way, Jen Psaki has an answer for this.
Entities. What we're communicating to the parties on the ground is that we must see meaningful steps within weeks to initiate discussions to achieve a negotiated ceasefire, allow unhindered humanitarian access, and ensure respect for human rights. Absent significant progress, we'll take action. And we have the methods to do that. That's why I talked about the executive order.
And then on Guinea, we've had so many coups in Africa. The president of Guinea has been overthrown, the president of Mali has been overthrown, and we just had the prime minister of Sudan who just survived a coup attempt.
Yes, multiple coups in Africa, much like there have been here in the United States this year.
And the president promised to defend democracy around the world. Is he failing in that promise?
Well, around the world doesn't really include Africa, I'm afraid.
He doesn't expect that to be accomplished in 9 months. He expects that to be accomplished over the course of time for advocating for democracy, for human rights, for imposing steps when warranted, and as we are considering right now in Ethiopia, and obviously by having a strong national security team that can convey this on his behalf when he cannot. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen.
Go ahead. I'll come back to you next.
Thanks, Jen. Just to follow up on Mike's question on what the Cuban foreign minister said, just to be specific, said it's a pity that President Biden couldn't implement his own policy toward Cuba. And I just wondered if you had a specific response.
Oh, this is also a question not about the infrastructure package.
I don't.
And there's a U.S. delegation, top officials going to Port-au-Prince. What's the goal of that visit?
Yeah, I have some details on this, including who is going. So let's see.
Port-au-Prince is in Haiti.
So what they're doing, when we feel it's pretty pivotal to have high-level officials.
It's hard to say, pretty pivotal.
From here engaged and
well, pivotal is one of those words that I'll often mispronounce. I'll call it pivotable. I don't know why. I just throw in an extra syllable there. And I've heard other people do it. As far as I'm concerned, the word should be pivotable.
Traveling back and forth to Port-au-Prince to have discussions with actors across the political spectrum to see what we can do to help support dialogue and development for the Haitian people. We know it's a clearly profoundly challenging time on the ground, and it's crucial that we meet with a range of stakeholders to help move this process forward or help support the process moving forward in a way that's in the interest of the Haitian people. So this is really an effort to be engaged, to be on the ground. I can tell you, and you may know this already, that our newly confirmed Assistant Secretary for Western Hemisphere, Brian Nichols, is on this as a part of this delegation. Our NSC Senior Director for the Western Hemisphere, Juan Gonzalez, are there. They're meeting with civil society groups, political stakeholders, the Haitian government, and they're, of course, as I noted, discussing a Haitian-led process charting the path to democratic elections. But that's the focus, as well as discussing how we can continue to help provide support for the migration response, security, recovery from the earthquake, and the COVID pandemic.
Last question. The Secretary Mayorkas had said he expected the results of an investigation on the Border Patrol officers on horseback by the end of this week. What's the status of that investigation?
I know he said that. As I understand, it's still on track, but I would really point you to the Department of Homeland Security on any update. Brian, why don't we go to you last?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
It's talking about the investigation of the CBP riders who looked like they were using whips on the migrants, And it probably turns out that they were just using reins, not on the migrants, but just controlling their horses with the reins.
I wanted to ask what the president's reaction is to Democratic.
We'll find out. They'll release a report at some point. The report's not going to be good because it's going to make everybody look like an idiot for thinking they were whips. I didn't fall for it, if you remember. I'm like, is it really that easy to use a whip? Is that what they look like? A whip in real... Yeah.
Lawmakers calling on him to lean more on Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema. What is the president's reaction to that?
Well, I would say first the president's reaction is he was in the Senate for 36 years. He knows.
Everyone is just so good looking in the White House press corps today. I say we keep the masks.
As does Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, what it takes at this point in negotiations. They've probably done this more and more successfully than any combinations of Democratic leaders in history. And his approach has been, yes, of course, it's listening. Yes, of course, it's conveying viewpoints and having sometimes, direct and candid discussions, but he knows how to do this. And a lot of people who are throwing stones aren't a part of these negotiations. They're one-on-one, so I think they should leave it to him and others to get them done.
There are members of his party that want him to be more actively involved and come out publicly and said, we want to see the president more actively involved. What's his response to that?
I would say that, as I would point to something Congresswoman Jayapal said yesterday, right now it's not a secret about what is the holdup. The holdup is that we need to get 50 votes in the Senate to move the infrastructure, to move the reconciliation package forward in order for members of the Progressive Caucus in the House to feel comfortable that there's a path forward. As many of them have conveyed, the president's role in communicating with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema to help get that done is probably one of the most constructive roles he can play, and that's what he's been focused on over the last few days. Thanks so much, everyone. Okay, last one.
We will probably do Spilling Covfefe tomorrow. I don't have morning plans except getting ready for another inspection, and I don't think that takes place till 11, and then I give blood during that, and then there's like inspections throughout the day, but I think the first one starts at 11. I'll know more tomorrow, but yeah, probably Spilling Covfefe tomorrow morning after I wake up, but then I have a lot of cleaning up to do, and I got to take the whole studio apart because if the buyers of the property come in and they see a studio, like basically computer monitors on a desk, they'll probably back out of the purchase offer because there were computer monitors on a desk.
I promise you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Jen, the president of Angola, President João Lourenço, was in D.C.
Oh, there's good questions about Angola.
Last week, and he met with Jake Sullivan and Madam Speaker of the House. And I just want to check with you if the president made any comment about this visit, because Jake Sullivan, and on the day that he met my president, he said he would brief the president on that day. So I'm trying to check with you if you heard any comments from the president.
I don't have any additional comment. I think we put a readout out about Jake Sullivan's meeting, but I don't have any additional comments. Thanks so much, everyone.
Oh, poor Angola. All right, that's it. I do have so many videos to edit for the charity, and I'm afraid that probably is going to take precedence over everything else until Saturday. And no one's doing any rallies or anything stupid. It's just sausage making going on right now in D.C. This is a boring time in the news, even though, as we've discovered later in the press conference, there's a lot of other things happening in the world. I don't know if I can cover, like, French TV and Euro News and all the other places because I don't want to get a copyright strike on that sort of stuff, which I've learned over time. Even if a channel is banned from YouTube, they can still give me a copyright strike for doing a reaction video to their it's nuts. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go take a cat nap. Everybody be good to yourselves, be good to others, and most importantly, be good to me. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, yeah, there's movie night tomorrow. So movie night is also pending on whether or not I can feel confident that I can get all the videos ready for Saturday night. Saturday night, October 2nd, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're raising money for charity, booksandbricks.org. If you can't join us, please go to booksandbricks.org. Consider a donation. Please share booksandbricks.org with your friends. Do it on Twitter, do it on Facebook, etc. We're trying to get to $50,000 this year. Again, the big dinner had to be not canceled, but greatly curtailed. The fundraising dinner they usually do every year to raise the money for the kids in Africa. So, even though the American administrations may not care about Africa, I know you guys do. Let's spread that word and let's take care of our business. So, until the next time, be good to yourselves, be good to others, and be good to booksandbricks.org.